The Suicide Squad has finally hit American cinemas, so it is time to do a little video to follow up on my review from last week. And while the spoiler review is not coming yet, I am going to do my personal ranking of James Gunn, the Suicide Squad's members. So, to qualify to be a member of the Suicide Squad in this movie, not only do they have either had to have the bomb put in the back of their neck, but they also have to have been involved in the final assault. There are a couple of characters in the movie that never actually have the bomb put in their necks, but they are involved in the finale in the Suicide Squad side of things. So I'm going to include them people as well because that means more people to rank and a lot more fun indeed. But take heed, as this will be a full spoiler video. I'll be talking about the characters' fates, I'll be talking about their contributions to the team, and I'll be talking about how much I like these characters as well, and key highlights from each member. So you have been warned. If you have not seen the movie yet, definitely go watch it, then come back to this video. But right now, let's get right into this ranking. There are 16 to get through, so let's waste no more time. Number 16 is Mongao. Now, at the start of the movie, I'm just going to spoil that straight away. There are a lot of characters that do die and don't get a lot of screen time. And I feel like Mongal, out of all of them, is the weakest of the lot purely because she was not involved in any of the pre mission banter that takes place on a chopper. She only has one line of dialogue, and it's literally saying, I got this flag before doing a stupid move, grabbing a helicopter, and then crashing it and burning to death quite horribly. It's a shame because I did like the design of this character. I would love to know how long it took to put all that makeup on to make this character look as good as what it did. And considering they're supposed to be an alien from outer space as well, I don't know, I would have loved to have seen a bit more of Mongao, but in the context of this movie, she does practically nothing. TDK is my number 15, and he is, well, his whole contribution amalgamates to a bit of banter on the helicopter about his name, and basically a punchline. He is the detachable kid, and he detaches his arms, slaps around a few soldiers, is very ineffective, and leaves Rick Flag to basically rue the fact that he didn't get to pick the team. And while his death is relatively funny, he doesn't really do much to write home about in the grand scheme of the movie itself. Coming at 14, it is Weasel, and he was a lot of fun. I was looking forward to see Weasel, and he has one of the funniest early parts of the film. Effectively, he doesn't talk. He has such a mood when he first shows up, screaming at the back of a van that are related to on a spiritual level, and he doesn't exactly do much in the actual combat. He actually straight up jumps into the water and drowns because no one thought to check if the weasel could actually swim. But he did leave to some of the best parts of the helicopter banter leading up to that opening sequence. So for that reason alone, I would rank him higher than the bottom two. And he just have a little stinger at the end that is just a nice little nod, but damn, it's a little bit dark when you really think about why he was put in prison in the first place. Then coming in at number 13, we have Blackguard, who basically you don't see any of his powers, but he is the cocky one that is just laid back, chilled out, talks smack to people. He freaks out when he convinces himself that Weasel is a werewolf, and he does have a glorious death scene and technically does get the ball rolling. Basically, he sells out the team, approaches the army saying, Hey, we got a deal, we got a deal. Face gone. Funny lines for the short amount of time he's on screen. And as I read of some of the Suicide Squad comics, more the modern ones, I do love a good traitor in the team. So that was a lot of fun to see him get very quick comeuppance. Coming at number 12, we have Javelin. Now, all he does is get a few bits of the banter started off, like inquiring as to what TD Kane's name is, and also how he flirts with her a little bit about his accent and gives her the javelin. He doesn't really do much, doesn't even get to throw his javelin. Harley gets more use out of that javelin than he does. But for what little time he's on screen, he is a memorable character, and his presence is felt throughout the rest of the runtime, thanks to Harley's obsession with the javelin and wanting to know what the hell she's supposed to do with it. Then we get to Mikkel Rooker's Savant at number 11. He is the first character we're introduced to, and we see the first 15 minutes of the film through his eyes. We're seeing things from his perspective. He murders a bird straight away with a powerful throw of a ball. He's very grouchy, and he is a character I do recognize from the comics, though I do prefer his look in this one. Just Mikkel Rooker looking very grumpy the whole time, ranting about amateurs. He's basically the blood spot of this lot in terms of the fact that he's looking around and wondering what the hell is this team he is surrounded by. Has this stone cold expression the entire time, which makes it all the more sweeter when he's the one that fully has a mental breakdown and tries to leave the mission, thereby demonstrating the explosive device in the back of the neck, which is such a gruesome moment. And Mikkel Rooker, I just love seeing him on the screen. So that's why Savant does get a relatively high placing from the earlier squad. Now we get into the top 10. And number 10, this is the first of two characters that don't actually have the bomb in the neck, but they do join the squad towards the latter half of the film and do take an active role in the final push. So for number 10, I've got Milton, because he's just the guy that's part of these freedom fighters that's there. There's also another freedom fighter that's not in this list. It's apparently based on a character from the comics. But that character, I genuinely cannot remember their name. Can't remember much they contribute to the movie in general, apart from answering the overriding plot of the militia that they're trying to overthrow. But Milton, he is with the squad the whole time, and he's mainly there just for the fact that he's just there for some reason. And when he inevitably does get picked off, I do love the mixed response that comes from his death from the other members of the Suicide Squad. Right down from Polka Dot Man in full mourning mode and Bloodspot and Harley just not having a clue who the hell Milton is, even though he's been there the whole time. It leads to one of the more darker, funnier parts of the movie, and I'll remember Milton more fondly than a number of the other members in this squad. Coming in at number 9, it's Captain Boomerang, and I wish I could have saw more of Jai Courtney as this character. He's one of the best parts of the 2016 film. I do love the banter he has with Harley throughout this. On the chopper, he is just trying to wind up the new guys, saying, "Hey, Arls, this is a bunch of dead meat," and they don't realize it yet. There's a bit of joking around going off. He has some of the best one-liners in this movie, even though he's not on the film for very long. "All names are letters, dickhead," is one of his best lines that I'm definitely going to use in the future. And I do love how we got to see his boomerangs actually get some use in some brutal ways as well. I think the guy's head just slides clean off after getting boomeranged. And when Boomer does fall, not only do you feel a little dead inside, because you do recognize it from the first one, Harley looks generally devastated by it. But that little grin he pulls right before the final hit, and then just the credit sequence where he's holding that boomerang up, it's just glorious. And for what little part he's in the film, he is absolutely brilliant to watch. Coming at number 8, we have the Polka Dot Man. I really loved him the first watch around. The second time, I realised, because obviously James Gunn got fired for some edgy jokes, and he got free reign to do whatever the hell he wanted for this movie. He basically just made Polka Dot Man one massive your mom joke. I did love his backstory, what I got told about it. I would actually love to see a Polka Dot Man like prequel series just to get the full story of him, his mom, and his brothers. Um, but a guy that shoots polka dots being a silly concept, he's actually got one of the most brutal powers in the movie. Some of the kills he gets off are gruesome. And I just loved how he had this shy Norman Bates style about him. And the trailers look like that crazy guy saying, "Yeah, I hope we die." But in this one, he's just a guy riddled with anxiety that's just nervous around everything. But he has one of the strongest powers in the whole movie and gives us some of the biggest laughs and arguably one of the darker backstories from these characters. Coming out number 7, we have the Thinker, played by Peter Capaldi. Now, he's not officially a member of the squad itself, but he is involved in the final assault, albeit very reluctantly. He has to be basically the infiltrator that gets him in to the building they have to get into. But my God, does Peter Capaldi do such a slimy performance? This character is gross. He is slimy. He is perverted. There's a line where Ratcatcher threatens to shove 12 rodents up his ass, and he looks like he will actually really enjoy that. It's so dark, and he gets his comeuppance in such a big way, and arguably one of probably the most gruesome death out of the big name characters. Um, he's in that final march, but you see in the trailer, so I count him, and I would say that he was definitely an entertaining character. Just that remorseless side of him that comes out when some big revelations are made. It's just absolutely astounding. Really did enjoy him. Then we move on to Peacemaker. Now, I'm not a big fan of John Cena as an actor, but my God, he did a great job as Peacemaker in this. Douchey Captain America, more like psychopath Captain America. He wants peace to be around the world, yet causes chaos and madness. He gets a lot of amazing kills in this. I love his dick measuring contest with Idris Elba. I loved how he is driven by his resolve rather than his emotions. Like there are genuine moments. There is a big death that he causes in the latter half, and you could tell from the performance that he didn't want to do it. But in the day, for him, peace comes first, and he wants to maintain that peace. So he will do anything, no matter how much it hurts him. Then little moments of hesitation that John Cena brings to the character at certain moments, which really adds a lot. And I am gutted about that post credit scene, to be quite honest with you. I knew there was going to be a show about him coming out. I was hoping there was going to be a prequel and he would get just axed off in this movie. But I'm interested to see more of this character. I love to see how they make this such a hateful guy become a main protagonist in a TV show. It'll be very interesting to see. And as the little outfits he wears throughout the movie as well, aside from his just Peacemaker outfit, he wears a lot of goofy outfits and he is just given some of the big laughs in the movie, but also some of the most emotional parts of the movie as well, which is quite something considering you're technically the double agent bad guy of the movie. Then we come in to our top five, and that will be Harley Quinn that comes in at the fifth place spot. Now, I love Harley. I think this is probably the best we've seen Harley. Of course, the Birds of Prey Harley was great, but this was the embodiment of the chaotic, neutral side of Harley, how she is smart, but also has just like the simplest of thoughts and impulses. She loves a bit of chaos. She loves a bit of madness. So you see like the Joker influence on her. I do love as well that even though they don't directly acknowledge Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad, there is hints that these films still happen. The fact that Harley's tattoo was changed from Daddy's Little Monster to Daddy's Ex Monster just basically makes the Birds of Prey break it with the Joker canon. Curious what's happened with the girl that she was looking after in Birds of Prey, but I think that could get answered in a later movie. But she has some of the best moments ever in this movie. There's a particular sequence where she just goes through a whole building through her bad guys, and it's gloriously shot, gloriously brutal, and just the dry comedy that comes from her as well. And you get more of a character in this one as well. Like she's obviously the chaotic one, but she has that sort of I am a person that no one really gives a damn about. So when Rick Flag says they were going to save her, like you get to see her sort of like taken aback for a second, like, wait, what? You were actually going to save me? You actually care? It was a nice little subtle moment, but in a adorable Harley Quinn fashion, and I think she did a very good job in this. I love how she didn't take center stage either. She very much, when she was with the team, she was part of the team. She wasn't the whole team. She very much just blended in with the rest of the crew, and that I really did appreciate. Number four, Hand. King Shark, man, he is an absolutely adorable character. I love the dynamic he and Ratcatcher have throughout this movie. He has some brutal kills in this as well that are mostly spoiled in the trailer. But I did love his simple mind. He has such an adorable moment in an aquarium that immediately hits me in the heart when something happens after the aquarium breaks. And he's a bit invincible though. The amount of times I feel like he should have just died. Yeah, it's in like plot art. His body's made of plot armor, just keep himself alive this whole time. I didn't want him to die, but Jesus, the amount of things that he survives or would have killed anyone else in the squad is kind of ridiculous. But he does give some great one-liners. He is so adorable. And hell, give me a King Shark plushie. I will gladly have a plushie from King Shark. But moving swiftly on to our top three. And number three for me, Rick Flag. I cannot believe I'm actually saying that because in the first one, Rick Flag was a nothing character. He was just a hard ass American soldier trying to keep everyone in line. In this one, he has a character. He is very much a driving force in this movie. He has way more personality than he had in that 2016 movie. And he just has these great small moments. Something I didn't notice in the first film that I noticed in the second was he indirectly suggests to a freedom fighter, hey, while they're distracted with us, that would leave the place you want to take over unguarded. Flew over my head on the first watch, but the second watch, I realized, damn, he was like going above command over Waller's head to make sure there was a positive influence in this land after they leave, if they succeed. I love his little big character moment when he finds out what's truly going on here and how he wants to deal with it. And the fight with Peacemaker that ensues straight after, it's one of the best fights I've seen in quite a while. It's half it is shot from just the helmet that Peacemaker wears, and you just seeing the fight take place in the reflection. It's very well choreographed, and never have I seen such a tragic end for a character go out in such a condescending way. Peacemaker, what a joke. That moment was left to hang, and that was one of the more powerful moments of the film for me. I was gutted to see him go, but my God, Rick Flag, he was so much more of a character in this one, and I would say out of all the characters that do die in this, his is the death that I definitely felt the most. Coming at number two, it's Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba. He very much surprised me in this one. He is basically the exact same as Deadshot. He's a very good shooter. He has a daughter that he cares for, and that's why he joins the squad. But I just love how he's just this exasperated character. The amount of times he's just like an exasperated, oh, for fuck's sake, constantly throughout this movie. One of my problems with the first film was they were always saying we're the bad guys, we're the arseholes, never actually showing it. But Idris Elba just being this very reluctant good guy, like he hates there's good sides to him. And I just love all the dynamics he has with different members of the cast. Like his relationship with Peacemaker is so different to his relationship with Ratcatcher. It's a really well done character. Idris Elba is a blast as this character, and I would love to see him come back again. I actually do hope James Gunn comes back and makes another Suicide Squad movie. Like, if they just make a series of Suicide Squad movies, please give me those all day long. He is a great character, and he turns in. You see him develop from just this reluctant leader to a full blown leader. The whole defiant walk when they decide, you know what, we're gonna go do the right thing. He promises Ratcatcher he's gonna get her out here alive. So I love the moment where he drops down, sees Peacemaker pointing the gun straight at Ratcatcher's face. Any other character, I feel like he would have said, "Yo, what's going on here?" But in that moment, he just sees Peacemaker pointing a gun at Ratcatcher, no questions asked, fires that bullet, no hesitation. I love how these little lines exchanged between characters earlier do play out later on in the movie. But Bloodspot is my number two, which means going into my number one pick, it is Ratcatcher 2, and that was actually a big surprise for me coming out of the movie. Because going in, I was curious about this character because you saw all these other characters, King Shark, Bloodspot, Peacemaker, Harley Quinn, getting spotlights in the trailers. Ratcatcher you saw fragments of. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? Having the power to control rats at your whim anywhere in the world, I thought that could be quite an OP power. But I didn't think we'd get much out of the character themselves. But she is very much the heart and soul of this movie. She's actually, I feel like she's the one that does pull the group together as a group, right from King Structure as the eater at one point, and while her response is initially annoyance, she makes a deal with him and trusts him, and they form a very good bond, which is, you go from nearly getting eaten by someone to becoming busy mates. I love the dynamic she has with King Shark. Her and Bloodspot, sort of like pseudo father daughter relationship, was very well done. She has such a great backstory. I'm gonna say Taika Waititi, man, like the fact he has like two lines in this and he still managed to make me tear up a little bit, beautiful. I just love how she just sort of like stayed in the background, came forward at certain points, and push came to shove. She was the big game changer between victory and defeat. I just love that scene where Peacemaker's just taking out Flag and he looks up and you just see Ratcatcher like frozen like a deer in headlights. It's really well done. She has some of the best lines, and she has a double little roller coaster Sebastian that waves and fist bumps people. Absolutely loved that rat. But all in all, this squad was just a lot of fun to watch. I did love a lot of characters. It was very difficult to rank the top 8. Very, very difficult. But that is my ranking of the Suicide Squad members from this year's film. Do let me know who your top 3 were down in the comments below. And if you like what you saw in this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out for the spoiler review that I will be doing with Luke's reviews very soon once we've got that organised. And if you go out to see it this weekend, do enjoy yourself. It is such a blast. And James Gunn, it's been great to see you get vindicated, my friend. But until next time, my name is Josh. I have been your Movie Apprentice. And I'll see you in the next video.